See if it starts going live. This is always the fun part in between, that it's like loading, but we're not quite there. Okay. All right, it looks like we are live. Okay. All right, we are live now on Facebook. Super excited. I am here with the incredible, it's doing some feedback. Let me just double check it's there still, since it was doing some fun stuff. Okay, sorry for the interlude in between. We're trying to make sure we're going live, but I am here right now with the amazing Nikki, and I am going to let Nikki introduce herself, and then we're going to jump in as I ask her a few questions about her experience working with me. But Nikki, will you just give an introduction to yourself, tell us what you do, who you serve, and all the fun stuff?
Well, just put me on the spot, why don't you?
I love to do.
So my name is Nicky Hartel. I am a soul coach from South Africa, and I help driven, powerfully passionate women entrepreneurs step into their divine role so that they can truly embody their soul purpose. And I do that using my embodied expansion methodology.
I love it. Yay. And Nikki is incredible. Let me just say she is a very, very gifted healer and coach, and she just is able to do some incredible things. So I wanted to take a minute and spotlight her first and foremost. I think more people need to know who you are because, as I tell you all the time, I think you are incredible and you are very gifted. And we are also here because I want Nikki to share her experience in working with me and what it's been like. So Nikki, I'm going to ask you a few questions and we'll just kind of jump in if that's okay.
Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so my first question for you is, what led you to actually starting to work with me?
Well, I was following you for a while. And I actually, you first started popping up in my timeline. I was actually working with another coach at the time. And I found that the information that you shared was just refreshing. Like it was, oh, I haven't heard this before. And also just completely genuine. Like you are who you are. And I could feel that energy coming off you. And yeah, just very refreshing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to follow Naz. And it was a while before I took the plunge.
It was. And tell me what ultimately led you to deciding, okay, now is the time to work with me. What was it that you were struggling with that you just were ready to accomplish?
So I felt like I was going around in circles. Like I had everything that I needed to do the thing, but I just wasn't doing the thing.
Yep.
So like I was clear about who I wanted to serve, like pretty much 99% clear. I have my methodology. I know what I'm doing. I'm passionate about what I do. I love the work that I do. I just couldn't seem to articulate it. And like there was a certain level of clarity that I didn't have. So even though I was clear, it just was like, it was all the puzzle pieces were there. I just couldn't figure out how to
put them together,
like, make a picture.
Yeah. And I tell Nikki this and everyone all the time. I say, the most gifted people in the world are the ones who struggle the most with knowing how to articulate what they do. And the reason why is because you're so good and so focused on what you're doing and knowing how to serve your clients at the highest potential that you don't want to mess around with all this stuff. You're just like, I want to serve, I want to do, and you're always like growing what you do. Right. And I always say that's the blessing and the curse of that. You get your clients amazing results. And then sometimes it's just explaining it. And I struggled with the same thing. So I always tell you all the time where I'm like, I know your gift and I'm just ready for more of the world to see that with the words that you share. So my next question for you is, what was an objection you may have had to working with me? Like almost didn't get you to work with me?
Okay. So I think my biggest fear was because I've hired a few business coaches over the years, I've had personal one-on-one coaching. I've been in group coaching programs. I coach other people,
Right.
So I think my biggest fear was that it was going to be like the same information,
Mm-hmm.
and that I was not going to, like I know all of that stuff, like
Yeah.
all of this, the same stuff that's said to everybody. And I think my second fear was that I didn't want to be given a methodology or a strategy that I had to follow that didn't feel good to me. And I remember saying that to you, like,
I do too.
I need to flow. I need to be in alignment. I want to be sharing content that feels good. I don't want to be following templates, or even a strategy. But yeah, it hasn't been that way at all.
I love that. And I think that that's a good one, right? Because we all have our fears around anything. And the last thing we want to do is lose ourselves in someone else's strategy and feel like we become a little, I always say, I don't want a bunch of mini me's of me. I want you to be you. And so I think that's a really powerful thing. And I still remember you messaging me being like, but I don't want to do things that don't sound like me. I don't want to do this. I was like, I know, Nicky, I hear you. I hear you. And I think that's a really important thing for a lot of people to hear, because I think sometimes it feels easier for us to feel like, well, it would be just so much easier if I just copied someone else's strategy, but it doesn't work. And you've been at this long enough to know that doesn't work. And it's just frustrating and it just kind of goes in circles. So I think that's really important. And I love to share that with other people, because I think we all have our own fears around investing and about change, about growth in general, and those are really common ones. So my next question to you would be, what has been the biggest shift for you since working together?
Okay, before I answer that, another objection or fear that I had was that I wouldn't be seen, and I wouldn't be, I wouldn't say looked after, but like coached properly. Especially because in Sustainable Profit Academy, it's a group coaching program with a personal touch. And I remember saying to you, yeah, but, I've been in these group coaching programs before, and you're kind of like left a little bit on the side. And you are incredible at coaching. I mean, we're only having our first one-on-one call now after this.
Yeah.
In all the time that we've been working together, but yet you are with me every step of the way, and you are pushing me and you are stretching me. I did that gif in the group where the yoga lady with the wide legs being stretched, the splits. That's what Naz does. She like stretches you outside of your comfort zone, where you want to smack her and tell her to stop, but you do it in a very, very no bullshit, but caring way. And I really appreciate that. You're very, very good at what you do. I've worked with a lot of coaches where the coaching is good, and I don't want to knock any of the coaches that I've worked with, because every single coach gave me something along the way.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, the coaching is more teaching. So it's like, this is what you need to do, now go and do it.
Yep.
Okay, right. And then we work through whereas like I've watched you, and I've watched you coach others as well. You literally coach. And the definition of coaching, I know you don't call yourself a coach, you call yourself a strategist, which is what you are. But the true definition of coaching is when you allow the other person to rise into themselves and to find the answers for themselves, without giving it to them. And the coaching industry has become, a lot of the coaching industry has become a teaching industry, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But you're very good at, you stretched me to the point where I had to figure it out myself, but you wouldn't leave me until I figured it out. So that was very powerful for me. So that's powerful for me. So I guess that leads me on to the next question, which is, what is the biggest shift?
Yeah.
So the biggest shift has been that stretch in even though my ideal client is the same, it's not, it's an elevated version of my ideal client. you call them the premium client. And so that was a big shift for me, because in the past, I haven't been working with that elevated version. And it's beautiful, because the transformation will be deeper and more impactful. And then the second shift is just how I'm able to articulate what I do. So that the methodology, the dynamic framework, coming up with the pillars of what it is that I do. And then that structure has created so much freedom for me in my messaging, in my how I communicate, in what I share. And I kick back a little bit when I'm given too much structure, but it's really created freedom for me. So
yeah. And we joke, because that was one of the big things that Nicky was like, I don't want structure. And I think she fought it for as long as she could. And then she, using her own words, surrendered a little bit to it, and then realized that, okay, wait, this is a good structure. It gave you like the ability to just voice your beliefs and your gift into the world. So I love that. And everything you're saying, I'm sitting here like shaking my head, because it's exactly like, that's exactly what we do. Like, I can't do the work for you, but I push you to the point and give you all the tools you need in order to be able to do that. And then even when things don't feel like they're working, we work through it. So a big thing I will tell you, Nicky and I work through, and a lot of other clients have worked through as well, is that I will take brain dump information. So it's very difficult when you're gifted to see what's important and what's not. And so Nicky and I went through a couple renditions of her dynamic framework, which is her proprietary methodology. And a lot of it was really fun, but it was in an interesting way where you got to give me tons of information, and then we got to pull from it and distill from it and then work on it. So you're not left trying to figure out, well, if I knew how to do this, Naz, I would have done this all along. Like, right? That's a lot of times what I hear from people, but instead we take the big idea and then we pull from it. And that's where you and I work together to really pull those pieces and be able to see the opportunities and build on them, so that you're not stuck trying to figure all the pieces out and go from there. So I always like to say it's like that combination of those two things that really helps us put them together. So my next and one of my last questions is going to be, if you were to sit right now, what is the biggest accomplishment you've had? So I know we talked about the shift. What's the biggest accomplishment you've had so far in just shifting into that premium, really knowing who your premium client is, having your dynamic framework or your proprietary methodology? What do you feel like it's now opening the doors to, or that you've even been able to accomplish?
I don't know. It's also new. I mean, I had, which I mentioned to you, a premium client fall in my lap, which was really good. And I was able to then communicate more confidently and with clarity when I did have the discovery call.
Yeah.
So I guess that's an accomplishment. But other than that, I feel like I'm at the beginning stages.
Scratching that surface. I know. Well, and that's the good thing, is I feel like even in that, you were able to speak to your premium client, you're able to communicate your value. And that to me is already the shift, right? Already the growth in that, and knowing how you can do that. And one of the things I tell you and all the ladies is that as we go through this process, your message starts to evolve through conversations. And even in that conversation with that premium client, you came back and you were like, Naz, I see it. And I can start seeing which pieces I need to like really expand upon and which ones I can move. But to me, it's like that ability to be able to now see the things that otherwise kind of felt like you couldn't see before, just because it was so difficult. So I love that. And my last and final question to you is, if someone was considering working with me, what would you say to them?
Don't doubt yourself. Don't second guess it. Just do it. Seriously. I really, in a way, although I believe divine timing and everything, it would have been great to work with you a few years ago. But yeah, I would say if you feel like Naz is someone that you can work with and you're wanting to just move forward in your business, then just don't hesitate. I mean, yeah, don't hesitate. Do it, do it, do it. Aww. I'm telling everybody.
I love it. And
I am really telling everybody, because you're very, very good at what you do, and you really are incredibly supportive, and you are able to help people move forward, and not in an easy way. It's not easy. Um,
I know. I tell people that all the time.
on.
Nikki's heard me say this, but on our calls, I literally tell people at the beginning of joining my program, I always say, you're going to hate me at a certain point in this program. And everyone laughs. Everyone says, no, there's no way. And I'm like, trust me, it's hard. It's difficult, especially the first 30 days. It's a lot of stretching and a lot of growing. And I always tell you, if you want to get to where you want to go, we have to do things we've never done before. And that's hard. And that's a lot of uncovering a lot of pieces from within. So I totally agree. Absolutely. My last thing I would love for Nicky to do is, Nicky, can you share, if people want to learn more about what you're gifted at and talent is, can you share a little bit more about where they can find out more about you and learn more about how they can see what you do and all that fun stuff?
Sure. They can find me on my website, nickyhartel.com, or on Instagram, which is just at Nicky Hartel, or Facebook, Nicky Hartel. And then I'm also a Insight Timer teacher. I have a whole lot of meditations. So if you want to get a feel for the meditations that I do and the soul sensory activations, then you can find an Insight Timer as well.
I love it.
There's one more thing I wanted to say, that if anyone's feeling like, so it's even people who maybe have been business coaches in the past, or are business coaches, or feel like they, maybe in some form they offer business coaching. Before I moved into my soul coaching, I ran a website and branding company, and I was working with premium clients, and I had a clear message. So like conceptually, I understood how to get to that point, but because I think for a lot of healers and transformational leaders and spiritual entrepreneurs, where the work that you do is like so deeply part of who you are. So if there's any other healers out there who are watching this, and for me, there was a big thing. I couldn't see myself. And so it's two-pronged. It's, if you're a business coach, or you think that you already have the strategy and you know what it is, this is like completely mind-blowing. And then if you're a healer or transformational leader, and you're really passionate about what you do, you also just have a way of helping us take a step back so that we can see who we are. And I promise you, Naz is not paying me to say all of these things.
I feel like sometimes when I tell people, I'm like, my clients gladly go and share about what we do together. Like, I don't pay them. I don't do anything. It's like by their own. I just simply asked, would you mind come sharing your story today? And you were absolutely happy to. And I think, again, that comes from a place of when you have this clarity, this open door, and this message, why wouldn't you want to tell more people, not only about you, but other people who have supported you? Because it really is like being able to uncover this space that you didn't see before. And I always tell people, we take a 30,000 foot view. We kind of step away from yourself and say, hey, all the things that you think are important are great, but we also need to look at all these other things that you may not have even realized. And so it's the combination of pulling all those pieces together that all of a sudden you sit there, and I remember you and several of the other ladies sit there and you're like, why have I not seen this all along? Like, where was this? And it's just, you had it all. It wasn't me. I'm not doing anything super fancy. It's being able to pull it out of you and show it to you, and then say, look at how magical this is. Let's start showing other people. That really kind of just puts it all in play. So I love that. That's such a good point on that. So again, what I'm going to have Nicky do is later on, she'll come into the comments and just drop information about where you can learn more about her and all the amazing things she does. If you are someone who is struggling to really uncover that spiritual side of yourself and integrate that into your business, I cannot recommend speaking to Nicky enough. She's truly gifted and talented at what she does. So I definitely want you guys to check her out. She'll drop her information in the comments later on so you can go find her. But again, thank you, Nicky, so much for being willing to come and share your feedback on working together. And I hope for those of you watching that this was helpful to you guys to see. I know sometimes it's difficult to hear from me what we do, and it sounds great, but hearing it from someone else and seeing the experience that they have and how it truly, I always joke, but I say it's not going to just change your business. It's going to change your life because you're going to see things totally differently, and it opens doors in ways you couldn't have imagined. So again, thank you all for being here. If you guys have any questions, you'd like to book a pathway call, interested in hearing more about what it's like to work with me, definitely drop into my comments or send me a DM. And again, Nikki will be back to share all her information so you can learn more about her. And thank you, Nikki, for taking some time to do this. And
thank you.
we will chat with you all later. Thank you.